Buenos dias, hello. You may have stumbled upon this video either by chance or you wanted to know what the heck is this video about. Mainly is I'm going to review this iPad mini and if you should buy this in 2022 or you should wait till whatever the M1, M2, if they ever do upgrade this iPad mini in the future. So, for a couple of weeks, I was trying to find a replacement for my current drawing tablet, which is the Cintiq Companion 2. If you guys don't know about the Cintiq, you may know the name Wacom. Wacom produced one of my favorite tablets back in 2016, which is under the name of Companion 2 or Cintiq Companion 2. And before I decided to buy this, I decided that it is time for me to get a new tablet because my current one, it was big, it was loud, and it was not portable enough for me to take along to a trip or for work. I looked around online to see if there were any options. I knew there were more powerful tablets out there, so I decided to search for some before deciding on which tablet I want to get. And what I found out in the whatever tablet industry, there are only 3 operating systems I could find. That will be Windows, Android, or iOS. For me personally, it didn't matter which one I picked because I was going to use a program called Clip Studio Paint, and within Clip Studio Paint there's a feature called syncing files, which acts like a cloud storage, which I could transfer whatever files to PC, well in this case to PC to my tablet. So I didn't need any other I didn't need to use the USB-C for this or get into like how to transfer from a iOS to a desktop, which saved me a lot of headaches because I know that Apple sometimes doesn't do that kind of transfer easily as I wish it could be. So when it comes to Windows, I thought one of those 2-in-1 PC would be great, but when I was researching online, I found that most of them compromising battery life for great performance and typically cost more. For instance, I was looking into the Cintiq Companion Studio, which is the next iteration of my current drawing tablet, but ultimately I decided to not buy it because it costs way too much. Don't get me wrong, it is a powerful little device. Probably good for what I was looking at for drawing and for 3D modeling, which I do use them. I do use 3D model application, but I wasn't looking for that part, so I decided not to buy that tablet. When I looked into the Android side, it seems to have the opposite problem, where there's a lot of budget friendly options, but the cost of raw performance wasn't appealing for me. The only tablet I was interested was the Samsung Galaxy Tab 8, which have a powerful chip, which if you compare with the iPad mini, I'm not sure, but it could be almost the same. Speaking of power, the same thing. I haven't searched that deeply, but ultimately I'm just going to draw. I'm not gonna play like games or edit videos. So for drawing purposes, for me it wasn't that big of a difference. The only good about the Galaxy Tab 8, which I appreciated, It stayed under my budget limit, but they included a S Pen without any additional cost, which was for me great. I don't have to spend another $150 for having the privilege to draw or write something on the tablet. The only reason why I didn't buy the Galaxy Tab Ace was for its size. It was rather big for me, especially from putting it into my lunch bag. So it had to be little slimmer that it could fit in, because I was planning to bring this at work and commute back and forth easily, but still continue to work on some personal project, because right now I'm not making a living with my drawings, so that was something important for me. So I had to find something small. My current tablet, the Cintiq Companion 2, is not that portable. It may be portable if you put it on a backpack. And yes, you have to bring your pen, whatever, soft case in a different or in together, but still, it was rather too big, and it was a hassle when I brought it to work, because this tablet makes a really loud noise when it turns on. And for me, that's embarrassing, because while others are eating quietly or playing around with whatever cards or whatnot, you could hear my tablet from miles away, and that tablet would not shut up. I even opened the tablet to clean it up, and it still makes a loud whining noise. So that's why I ended up buying this iPad mini, not only for its performance, the battery life, it's reliable, but most importantly for me, it was how portable you can take this anywhere. I mean, there's nothing wrong with my Cintiq Companion 2 other than what I said of the loud noise. I love that machine. I used it in my college years. There's nothing wrong with it. It's fine when you want to work on big projects. I even upgraded that tablet. I opened it up. I put more RAM on there, added a bigger storage, and it still functions. It still acts like a brand new tablet. But today, for me, I only use that tablet for a more serious project, or if I want to use that bigger screen. So before I forget, I think a few people wants to know the spec of the iPad mini, or what is the option you can get. Currently, I got the iPad mini 6th generation in 2022. I don't think the year doesn't matter, but the generation is. But yeah, I opted for a space gray color because why not? But you can get it from space gray, pink, purple, or a starlight color. You get the option between a 64 or a 256GB storage. I got the 64, but I do wish I had the 256, but it costs way too much. But I did wish for the 256, but I wasn't going to pay another $150 to bump it up. I wanted to save some bucks somewhere, so I had to compromise with the 64. You can also choose between a Wi-Fi or a Wi-Fi with cellular connectivity. I think everybody should just go with the Wi-Fi, but that's your choice, whatever. Currently, as the making of this video, the iPad uses the A15 Bionic chip, which is not bad, I would think. Maybe in a year or so, they might put the M2 or M1 chip, but for now, the A15 has a 6-core CPU, a 5-core GPU, and a 16-core neural engine, which basically just means that for our purposes, you're gonna have a great time. Camera wise, it has the 12 megapixel wide lens, which is good enough for me. I'm not using this as a photographic work or take pictures professionally, but the picture is good enough for an average, I don't know, Instagram post and or Facebook post, and TikTok pictures, or in this case video, which leads me to it can record to 4K, 1080p, or even 720p videos. The display stretches at 8.3 inches diagonal. It has this beautiful liquid retina panel with the multi-touch display. The resolution of this iPad is 22,266 by 1,488 pixels at 226 ppi, which is good. The color gamut for this, I think they just call it differently, but it should be DCI-P3, which is also good for drawing or color wise, and everything running on the old iPad OS 15, which is okay. I don't know if this iOS will get the 16 version of it. I haven't looked into it because I really don't care, but overall this is a nifty little device. But regardless of the iPad OS, overall this is a nifty little device. I haven't regretted it yet, other than paying about $800 for the iPad itself, the Apple Pencil, and the Smart Folio, which is to protect the screen and the iPad. So I think you guys might be wondering, what is it like to draw on this iPad mini? I went and did an illustration of Ariadne from the Skeleton Knight in Another World. You might heard of that anime. I started with a pencil face to, a more rendered face, coloring face, everything, to the final piece of the artwork. And what I found is that if you doing a portrait of something similar to this one, there's nothing wrong with it. You will feel kind of relief, I think, or not relief, I would say like more like comfortable with it, especially when you rotate the iPad horizontally, because it translates very well with the canvas. I tried to test some parallax, but because of the display only has a 60 Hz screen, which doesn't fare good on drawing, you will feel like the line is not catching up with the pen. But I think that shouldn't bother you that much, because for the last, I don't know, 6 to 8 years of my life, I've been using webcam tablet, which with the screen, most of them still use the 60 Hz panel, so it's not something you should worry about. It's not a necessity. That 120 Hz that you hear from other YouTubers, those 120 Hz is just like a privilege to have. It's a nice thing to have, but you don't need it to make amazing artwork. You can see that from other artists who just use a ordinary table tablet. I also tested if you can draw straight lines. I use a ruler to do this, and every time I do draw a line, it doesn't appear that you can get any jagged lines, but you can see that those lines have some bubble in it. That mainly is because I think my pen sensitivity was too high, so I wasn't used to it, so that's why you can see bubbles within those lines. But when I did eventually control, or had to control the pen, there was a perfect line, so there's nothing wrong with it. I guess this is a good chance to tell you that the Apple Pencil, surprisingly, I thought of it just as a normal pencil, and I think that's not a big problem, other than if you try to use the Apple Pencil on your iPad, you will feel like the pencil will glide on the iPad, which I don't like. So I bought some semi-texture screen protector to make it more resistant to the Apple Pencil, which basically solved that little problem of mine. If you're coming from a Wacom tablet, I did have to get used to drawing with the Apple Pencil because I was using a Wacom pen for a long time, which if you haven't seen one, it looks drastically different than the Apple Pencil. I will say that the only downside I could see from an Apple Pencil is the buttons, or mainly the touch button. The Wacom had two like programmable buttons that you can put whatever shortcuts you wanted, but as of now, the Apple Pencil has this touch button, which normally is just going back and forth between the pen to an eraser, which is fine for me, but I do want to have another button, or at least program that pencil. But you may I don't know if you can do that, but that's my only problem with the Apple Pencil for now. Another potential problem I could see when you're trying to draw something bigger, and what I mean is something that a big tablet will benefit you. You will be zooming in and out at various part of your canvas. That would definitely make, which it could be annoying at times, but I think that's something you to get used to. Some of you may notice that when I do draw in Clip Studio Paint, the interface does cover a hefty portion of the screen, and sometimes it could be even more than what I like. But you can easily hide those and recover most of your screen, but it is something to keep in mind of now. For me, I just got used to it. Personally, if I want to work on important projects without any interruption, I'll just draw on a bigger tablet for a better experience, but not everybody has that luxury. But I do still consider drawing on this iPad. I still have a choice to draw professionally with Clip Studio Paint whenever I want and wherever I am. I intended the iPad mini to be used more as a drawing notebook, where I could practice my drawing, practice my shading, do some human anatomy, coloring, learn how to draw clothing. You can tell here that this is not so different than a normal notebook or sketchbook, which I could write on, scribble on, practice my drawing and whatnot. It's just more compactful, little slimmer, and a little bit more organized. It is not that different when I use a normal sketchbook. Better yet, I think the iPad mini could be more desirable to get, because it's a fantastic device for consuming entertainment media like YouTube or Netflix videos, or even watching anime videos. For me, it's a great way to read manga panels or read some light novels in your iPad. Plus, the battery doesn't drain that much. In my use case, I usually charge this iPad every other day. This iPad mini definitely lasts a long time before it runs out. That being said, it does take about 6 to 7 hours to drain the battery at full charge. I do wish this iPad had released during my college years. It would have been perfect commuting back and forth and not worry to bring along tons of book or heavy materials on one small backpack. So if you're in college or a student college or going to school, this is a perfect little mini tablet you can bring. So I think this video is becoming long enough. So once again, you should ask the question if should you spend on buying this iPad mini? Yes. For drawing, for art college students, you should buy this. Maybe if you don't like the small one, you just get the bigger one, but just keep in mind the price. I only recommend this iPad mini for serious digital artists who wants to keep drawing wherever you are and you don't mind spending about $800 on this device, for beginners, I recommend you something else. You should not buy this iPad mini if you're not serious on doing digital art for a long time. But I hope this video helped you decide if you want an iPad mini specifically. And if you were thinking that a small screen will hinder you in any way, don't worry about it. You won't regret buying an iPad mini. So I'll see you on the next video. Have a pleasant day and be safe out there.
Listen.